Here we are with News and Views with the Mayor. I'm Harvey Persons, Mayor of the City of Douglasville. Today we're going to talk about the faith-based initiative, and we have with us as a very special guest, Mr. Charlie Branson. Mr. Charlie Branson has been very involved in Douglasville in outreach programs and working with the disadvantaged in our community and the homelessness that we see and experience. And we're going to talk about how Charlie Branson, the faith-based initiative, City of Douglasville, and many others in a collaborative effort are working together to address some of the disadvantaged and the homeless within our community. So stay tuned. We have a lot of things to tell you about in just a few minutes as it relates to homelessness, faith-based, with our special guest, Mr. Charlie Branson.
We all use water every day in our homes. Some of us use more than we need. There are lots of ways each of us can use less, like turning off the water when you brush your teeth, putting in high-efficiency toilets, water-efficient shower heads, and other water-saving appliances. Find out how much water you use and how you can use less at mydropcounts.org.
Honey, where's the mop?
Hello, here we are today with News and Views with the Mayor. I'm Harvey Persons, Mayor of the City of Douglasville. We're very fortunate to have with us today Mr. Charles Branson. We're going to talk a little bit about the faith-based initiative and the Street to Home program and some of the initiatives as it relates to reaching out to people that are disadvantaged in our local community and some of the efforts that we have put forth to help with the disadvantaged within our community. And we're going to talk with Charles Branson here, who's been a tremendous asset as it relates to helping the local community and reaching and helping those people that are disadvantaged and sometimes can't help themselves. So here we are. This is Charles Branson. And Charles, when I first got elected, I met with several of the pastors within the local community and talking about how they could help with their local government, with local civic organizations, with local community organizations. And we formed a faith-based initiative to pull those groups together and working around the faith initiative. And as a result of that, we looked at different initiatives, and the pastors within that faith-based initiative wanted to address the homelessness that is within our community. And it's an issue that's not just within our community, it's an issue that faces communities all across America. And it was once said by a very famous individual, you can tell a lot about a community by what it does and how it reaches out to those that are less fortunate and disadvantaged within their community. And we feel that Douglasville and Douglas County really is a caring community. It's a tremendous community, and so we wanted to reach out to those that are less fortunate. So, Charlie, tell us a little bit about yourself. You became engaged once we did form the faith-based initiative.
Yes, sir.
So give me a little bit about your background, how you got involved in the different initiatives, because you're involved in a lot of different things within the community and really around the region. So
yes, sir.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got engaged in all this.
Well, I've been a lifelong supporter of United Way, and after coming to Douglasville, I was quickly recruited into the local United Way board and helped chair a couple United Way campaigns here in Douglas County, and got on the Metro Atlanta United Way board. And around the same time, was asked if I was interested in joining the Atlanta Regional Commission for Homelessness. The Atlanta Regional Commission on Homelessness was convened by United Way in 2002 to try to actually end homelessness in the Atlanta region within 10 years. Mm-hmm. Obviously, that was an incredible goal, and they did some great work, but that's something that couldn't be attained in that amount of time. So in working with them, I learned about what they've learned about homelessness and how to effectively address homelessness. And went out on outreaches at 4 and 5 in the morning in Atlanta and so forth. And then after I've been doing that for a few years, was very concerned that we needed to move that effort to Douglas County. And started doing some outreaches in Douglas County. As a matter of fact, there were 2 individuals living in the woods behind Big Lots back then on Fairburn Road. One was a 43-year-old person who'd had a stroke and walked with a walker and so forth, and couldn't talk and was always angry. And we managed to get him help and to get his girlfriend help. And they were in the hospital for weeks after we got them out of the woods, and got them to Atlanta, which they were willing to go. And both of them now have Social Security disability. They're both in stable situations and living good lives. He was one person we targeted as the most vulnerable person in Douglas County in the woods. So we'd had some success, but it was a struggle because people really didn't want to leave Douglas County, where they had a support system,
right,
and go to Atlanta. So it was a lot of work to try to work with these individuals. The whole concept of the regional commission was to work regionally and nationally to find best practices. And the one best practice they identified was housing first, that it was really important, first and foremost, to get a homeless person who wanted help into a bed, to surround them with case management, connect them with mental health and medical care where appropriate, and to help them find a source of income.
Let's talk a little bit about that, because so many times the local community sees the homelessness. They see people maybe standing on the street corners. They see them maybe asking for money. But beyond that, they don't really know or understand what's going on. And so many times with so many programs, you see where people are maybe just donating money, but they're not really getting them back into the community to where they can be an active participant in the community. And when the faith-based movement got connected with Charles Branson, and I think that's when you actually started the Street to Home program.
Yes, sir.
And really we were even talking about a name for it and all that. But once that happened, there was almost $20,000 in local donations that were given locally, but then we're able to leverage that into almost $100,000.
Yes,
and I think 20,000 of that came from United Way, and then another grant of about 55,000 came from the PATH team.
Yes, sir.
So, like I said, it shows what a relatively small group of people working with a goal can accomplish if you set your mind to it and you have the passion and the commitment to getting it done.
Absolutely.
So you've done a great job with that. United Way actually put together a booklet, and it was talking about the Regional Commission on Homelessness, and I think some of that came from actually the outreach programs and whatnot that the initiative in the Street to Home program actually started, correct?
Absolutely. They looked upon what we did as a prototype. It makes a big difference when you're working with an organization that is providing some funding that you can leverage and so forth. As a matter of fact, the $55,000 grant was a grant United Way applied for and won to get the PATH team into the area, which was incredible and made a huge difference. So, they're very proud of what we've accomplished and are excited about what they feel we can accomplish going forward.
And that was the thing, and some of our viewers out there will know about the homeless village that was actually next to the Kroger in that large wooded lot area right there on Hospital Drive. Mm-hmm. It was one of those things that was kind of out of sight, out of mind, but a lot of times people would see the homeless there at the local restaurants, the McDonald's, the Chick-fil-A, the different street corners, maybe kind of panhandling, if you will,
right,
but didn't really know the plight of the individuals and the true homelessness and despair that so many of them faced. And through these programs that were started right here in Douglasville, were able to, let me read some of these numbers, Charlie, and you correct me, and let's talk about it. I think initially there in 2012, there were 54 people moved. I think they were evaluated and moved into housing. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
And then following on the heels of that, then there were another 53 households that were assisted with 53 adults and 84 children.
Yes, sir.
And the success of this program was not just giving people a handout, but it was doing the evaluation to determine some of the mental and physical health needs, provide for those, get them housing, and then get them jobs.
Absolutely. And you have to work with the individual. Different people have different needs. Quite often, homeless people have been robbed of their identification and everything else, so they need help with that. My experience has been about more than half the homeless people that I've worked with really can't work. They've got severe mental problems, they've got severe physical problems, and they need help getting disability and getting the aid that they're qualified to get in their condition. And it's just a matter of somebody helping them access that, because the cure for homelessness is an income source.
Right.
Till you have a stable income source, you can't be self-sufficient. And the hope is to achieve self-sufficiency with these individuals. Some of the individuals we helped on Hospital Drive have been living in that general area for 14 to 18 years. And there are some great people in the community that have been out helping them, bringing them food, bringing them tents and sleeping bags, and taking them to the laundromat, and trying to help them as much as they could with their needs. And we still need people to do those things. But if you really want to end homelessness, you need to get them out of that situation. Otherwise, you're just maintaining it and enabling them to be in that situation, which is basically the definition of homelessness is somebody living in a situation that's unfit for human habitation. So you don't want that to go on and on forever.
Well, you mentioned a couple of key things there, Charlie, and one of the things was giving people hope. And this is something that I don't know that a lot of our viewers really truly understand, just the total despair and lack of hope when you've lost your job, all of your assets, even your home. You don't have a place to live or to stay. You have no support system, and you really have nowhere to turn, and you've really lost hope. You don't have any hope. And you mentioned 14 years, and this is actually a success story. You probably remember Minnie.
I know her very well, yeah.
This is the success story of Minnie James. And Minnie James left her campsite home in Douglas County woods on December the 28th, 2012, where she had been living for 14 years. And that campsite was that wooded lot right there beside the Kroger on Hospital Drive.
Yes, sir.
And probably, I would venture to say, none of our viewers ever really knew Minnie. They might have passed her sometimes on Hospital Drive or saw her in the parking lot at McDonald's, but really didn't know the hopelessness and the despair that she faced day in, day out, sleeping in that little lean-to in the woods right there next to Kroger.
Well, she's a very sweet, very loving woman, and anybody who saw her would have not realized probably that she was homeless. And one of the things with Minnie, and we tried before the Street to Home program got in the full bore to get her out of the woods, but she always had pets. She always had little dogs or puppies or something, and there wasn't a shelter we could take her directly to where she could keep her pets, and she refused to leave them because she loved them so much. But when we got in there with the initiative, if somebody wanted help, we found a way to help them. So as far as I'm aware, that she's still, she got into an apartment and she's still in it, and she's doing very well.
And it's amazing at the different, and I have several of the success stories here. One is Tara Birch, and one of the community volunteers that was helping and helped with the program through the St. James AME Church, Addie Hamilton. You know Addie very well. And maybe she'll see this one day, but Addie does a phenomenal job reaching out, helping the community. She was an asset in helping do some of that. We had I don't know if you remember the gentleman by the name of Michael Beltran. Michael was actually living in his vehicle in that parking lot right there next to the Kroger Shopping Center in that wooded area. But the point to all of this is it's a community working together through a faith-based initiative with the help of a lot of people working together, doing that outreach and going out there to help the people. And it's not just taking them food or different things like that, but it's trying to help them get reestablished back into the mainstream, to find housing, to get mental and health evaluation so that then they can get jobs, go back to work, and really be a productive part of society, which is what they want to do. They just need that help to get away from the despair and the hopelessness that they have had over the years through being homeless. And Charlie, you have been a tremendous community partner in helping with that. We really appreciate what you've done, but not only continue to do. And the thing as far as it doesn't stop, because sometimes people say, well, there's still homelessness out there. But the poor and the homeless will always be with us. But what defines a community is what you do to help with that.
Absolutely. Discussing bringing people together as part of the effort to work with the Faith-Based Coalition and the United Way and other agencies, I became part of the Douglas County Continuum of Care Coalition, which is a group of people involved with homeless charities and so forth. And for example, Addie Hamilton, who you mentioned, is on our board. Along with so many people that have been out there for years and years working with the homeless. So it's a matter of pulling people together. We've got representatives from Good Samaritan and Loving Hands and Salvation Army and Talatuna and Travelers Aid and Wellstar. And I'm going to leave somebody out. We've got so many people out there that are all part of this and pull all these efforts together. So you have a genuine collaboration of effort between all the nonprofits, between the city, between the churches. And when we all roll up our sleeves together, we can do absolutely incredible things. And we did. What we did has been really incredible. Can I mention going forward in the last year?
Sure, please do.
In the last year, we've turned a little bit from just trying to get people out of the woods to trying to help people that are at risk of homelessness. And there's an effort in the Atlanta region and nationally now, similar to the Street to Home program, called the Family Stability Initiative. And that's by having groups work with the school system liaisons and identify children that are homeless or at risk of homelessness in the school system and help those families avoid homelessness so that child doesn't have to change schools and the child doesn't go through that kind of trauma. So that's a big part of it as well. And that's another case where there's a lot of effort to find best practices and make it really work and be as effective as possible.
Well, I think the key there, Charlie, to what you said is that collaborative effort.
Yes, sir.
Of everybody working together and pulling together to address the issues and the needs of our community. So many times I think we maybe get wrapped up or lost in some of the day-to-day activities and lose sight of what some of the needs are. And that was the thing with the faith-based initiative and that collaborative effort of people pulling together, government, faith-based, civic, community organizations, the school system. You mentioned meeting the needs and addressing it and trying to address it before it happens.
Right.
As a matter of fact, the school system now has a lady that comes that's charged with that.
Yes, sir.
And she comes to the faith-based meetings. So, like I said, it's that collaboration.
And she's on my board as well. So.
Exactly. Of people pulling together, working together. We're just about to run out of time, but let's talk about moving forward and mention we have cold weather coming up. We're going to be doing a show talking about the cold weather and trying to be prepared for it. But one of the things to be prepared for it is to continue to address the needs within the community and this is not cheap. It takes funds and resources to be able to continue in these efforts. So for our viewers out there, if anybody wanted to contribute any either funds or resources or time, who would they get in touch with, Charlie, and how would they do that?
Well, as a board member, I would say support the United Way. The United Way has been an incredible partner for us, and they've done incredible things, and they're in the middle of their campaign, so you'll be asked in your workplace. And please support United Way. Please tell your pastor that you're happy about the fact that your church is supporting our faith-based coalition and what we've done. It all began with the churches, and they're absolutely instrumental to us continuing what we're doing. I was just called last week by the Key Club at Douglas County High School about them wanting to do a blanket drive and ask my advice about it. And people in the community are going to be approached by people collecting coats and blankets and that type of thing. Please cooperate, give. These are all great efforts. And again, it's support as much as you can. One point I'd like to make, if I've got a few seconds to do it, is that looking at homelessness for quite a number of years, I've been puzzled somewhat or challenged by why people don't get involved and don't really roll up the sleeves and try to impact it. I think the number one reason over the years is they don't think it'll do any good. They'll think they're still going to be out on the street after I help. Well, we had, as you're aware, almost a 90% success rate.
Correct.
And the Regional Commission in Atlanta quotes an 85% success rate. What's the success rate? It means that somebody we got out off the streets into the bed never ended up on the streets again.
Fantastic.
And that's, what we need to accomplish.
Well, that's the thing we want to enclose and share with our viewers. There is good news out there, and the good news is that people are out there helping people, the Addie Hamiltons of the world that are helping,
Absolutely.
The churches, the United Way, the collaborative efforts of what Street to Home program's doing, what Charlie Branson's doing, and then the story after story after story that has been given of the success of these programs and what our community is doing to help people. And it's amazing. Everyone I've seen gives the credit to the good Lord above and are very thankful for that helping hand and reaching out. So citizens out there, it's a great community. There's a lot of tremendous things being done. And if you would like to get involved or engage, contact us and we'll be happy to engage you in some way with the tremendous efforts that are being done in our community to help those that are disadvantaged. So thank you and have a blessed day. And Charlie, thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you, sir.
And continue to keep it up. Thank you.